Okay, guys, who did, who wants to present?
I'm not sure, but Miklaus. As a customer, I want the system to send me a confirmation email so that I know my order has been placed.
Yes, it's okay. I did a little another one.
Excuse me?
No, another student did. Another student would like to share with us what he did. Okay, it's good. It's perfect. I did a little different, but it's the same. Okay, as a user or as a customer, I want that system send a confirmation mail whenever the order is placed, and that I can identify the existing transaction. The only things that is a little different is because another place is part of the requirements is the what you need to do. Okay, so but it's okay. I believe it's good. The next one, I will give it 5 minutes again. And the new one is the system must allow blog visitor to sign up for the newsletter by leaving their email. Okay. Please build a new user store. 5 minutes. Okay. Who 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 want to share with us? Who does want to share? Come on, guys. Nobody? Okay.
Maybe I can.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. Um, as a blog visitor, I want the system to allow me to sign up to the newsletter by leaving my email so that um, I can receive the newsletter by email.
Perfect. Perfect. Congratulations. Exactly it. I wrote different the reason, but it's okay. Okay. Uh, it's very important to know how to do it. Okay, we'll realize one test like that at the end of this session. Okay, but again, who, what, and why. Okay, all the time you have the who, what, and why. Okay, to describe a feature. Okay, a functionality. But the user story, as you see, you describe it, function requirements. Am I correct? You define the feature. But how to describe the the constraint? Or how to describe, because when you describe the feature, another thing that you need to describe is how you validate this feature. Okay? In other words, it's a constraint. To describe the constraint, you use the acceptance criteria. The other name that acceptance criteria has is the definition of done, okay, DOD, okay? The acceptance criteria refers to a set of the predefined requirements that must be met in order to mark the user story completed, okay? The acceptance criteria define how do you validate the user story. The conditions that software products must satisfy to be accepted by user, okay? You remember, it's a talk with the customer. You define in the beginning how you validate the talk. The pre-established standards or requirements a product or project must meet. Okay. Again, you define the constraints. As I said, acceptance criteria you can talk if a definition of done. Okay. In a project, you check after after the development, you have a meeting with the user and you show the user that you attend or you met all of acceptance criteria. Okay, but you can describe non-function. Acceptance criteria is not about the non-function requirements, but it's about how do you validate the requirements. But you can use acceptance criteria to another focus, okay? Because in the other way, the acceptance criteria constrain the implementation of the function requirements. You can use the acceptance criteria to describe, for example, non-function requirements. One example is here. As a user, I want to register and log in with a secure password to prevent the system from being compromised. Okay? Where is the who in this user story here? Where's the who? Come on, guys.
The user.
The user. What I need to do?
Register and login in with a secure password.
Yes, register and log in secure password. Why?
To prevent the system from being compromised.
Exactly. Okay. The three things: who, what, and why. The question is, what constraints should be imposed? What does mean secure password? Okay, and you use acceptance criteria to explain it. Okay, the acceptance criteria can be, okay, must be at least, the password must be at least 80 characters and no more than 12. The password must contain only alphanumeric. The secure password must contain at least one digit. Security password must contain at least one alpha character. Uh, think here. It's about the functionality, or it's about what it means, or the constraints about the previous user store. It's the constraints, okay? The passwords that you use to hash and login need to match these requirements, okay? It is acceptance criteria. Any question, guys? Do you think you can write user stores? Uh, the science can be yes, or the science can be no. What means the science? Yes or no? Nothing.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Uh, okay, you have a user store that describes features, okay, and you use acceptance criteria to describe constraints or non-functional requirements, okay? For example of user store is, as a user, I can backup my hard drive, and you need to put, for example, why, but not describe why here. As a power user, I can have my reports on my dashboard. The sentence means the why, but you have here the user and the what. The user and the what. Okay? But and sometimes you need to organize your requirements and subset. Okay? For example, this requirements is about the login process. This requirements is about, for example, the financial model. Okay? And you use app. The app is a group of user store. Okay. The another thing that you can use is the theme. The theme is a group of app. An example here. Okay. The app key here is the login page usability. The other app key is about the new video section. One app can have multiple user store. For example, in this case here, I have one user store. As a user, I would like the validation on the login page very clear so that I can easily see if I make a mistake when I log. For example, something like that. The user missed the password or put or set or type the wrong password. You only put in red the password box. It's something like that. Okay. In the app section, or in the app about the video section, you have different user stories. It's not described here, but you have two different user stories. And the theme is a collection of apps. Okay, it's the way that you use to describe apps and things. When you use one another, okay, the app is easy. We use app, for example, to organize better the code. You use team to organize better the apps. Okay, all the project has app. Yes, much of all the project has app. All the project has team. No, some project people use team, but it's not so common than that. App is common. Okay, all the projects that you work, you need to organize the codes in app. How to write an app? Things in situation. You have a user store that has a constraint, for example. uh, you have a requirement about the performance of the answer. For example, when you use a click in one button, you have a maximum time that the system needs to provide the answer. Okay. This constraint appears in multiple user store. Okay, you have a user store to log in, you have a user store to add things, add an item, you have a user store to sell things, you have multiple user store and you have the same constraint. As we said before, the constraints you use in acceptance criteria inside the user store. For example, in the login user store, you need to put the performance criteria. In the add item user store, you need to put in the acceptance criteria about the performance. A way to avoid to repeat the same information in multiple places is to write an app, okay? Instead, you put the acceptance criteria, the same acceptance criteria in multiple things. You will have an app that multiple user store use, okay? The same acceptance criteria, okay? Instead you write in the user store, you write in app, okay? Another thing that you can write in app is to document better the model in this case. For example, you put an introduction, you put product requirement like the performance, okay? You can set some engineering requirements, methodology requirements, design requirements. In the app, you document with the general information about that model or that app, okay? The things that is common to multiple user store that is inside that. Back to this example here. In this case here, okay? In the news video sector, I will click here to be. Okay, okay, we'll talk about this app here. Okay, so for this app, you have a group of performance requirements, like the maximum time to answer or the type of database that you use, okay? Instead you save this acceptance criteria here and here, you save this information in app. So consequently, you don't need to say what you put here, you don't need to save again, report again in the user store. Any question, guys? No? So I will talk better about it in the next session, okay? But again, when you read a user store like that, okay, as a user, I would like the validation or the login page to be clear so I can easily see. Blah, blah, blah. It's not talk about what exactly what you need to do. It's talk about the feature in the little generic, not generic, but in the high level. For example, it's required to clarify the requirement. It's required to elucidate better. Remember, in the beginning, I told you that you only create the user store only. It's clear, but it's simple. It's a promise to a future conversation. Okay, you need to clarify the requirement better. You need to write the test case. You need to write the test. You need to design the GUI. You need to create and define and create and execute the integration test, the bug and factor. Okay? What it means, for example, things that use storage query user, you need to describe the tasks that you need to implement to realize the user store. Okay? In other words, you get, for example, for each user store, you have multiple tasks. Okay? How again, you describe this thing better in the next session, okay? In the next day, okay, the next week, okay? So Remember, the user story is a very simple way to describe requirements, okay? And the way is, you have the feature, you need to describe who will use the feature, what is the feature, and why you need this feature, okay? Also, you need to describe the constraints about the realization of the feature, okay? And you describe these things in acceptance criteria. If you have a big project, maybe you need to organize the user store in groups. The name of the groups is app. You can use, if you have acceptance criteria that appears in multiple user store, you can define the acceptance criteria in app and don't no need to describe inside the user store. Any questions? No? Okay. I just want to open the canvas. Okay. Now, you finalize the requirement course. There is others. If you follow the PowerPoint, you see that you have story points inside the content. However, you'll explain about the story point in the next class because I believe is much. When I present you the agile process, makes it's you will understand what is story point better. Okay, I didn't present today. So what we'll do now, we'll start this activity here. The engenharia de requisitos is this activity. This activity is the application of the requirement written and the user story written. Okay, just download the report. Okay, how it work? How is the direction? This activity is in the group. Okay, we use the reto group, the group that we form to the reto. Okay, after I will talk about each group. Uh, what this text is about? Give me a second. Okay. Okay. What you need to do? You need to go to the reto project. Okay. Wait to download. Yes. Okay. You need to go to the repo and reading the document here. You need to describe to find the requirements and describe these requirements using user store. Okay. How will you report it? You will report this activity. Give me a second. Okay. Use this template here. Okay. Report one doc. Okay. What is it? So you have at the section one, the description of the project, where you present an introduction of the problem, what is inside the border, definition of if you want, general description, what the system will do, what is the user necessities, and dependency and support. What I want you that you work today, okay? Because this one here is more you read the reto and try to translate in this part. But the more important here today, and the things that I want to work today, is about the section two. And the section two, the first thing you need to read the reto and define what is functional requirements and what is no function requirements. Okay, is the first thing. The second thing, for each user requirements or no function requirements, you need to generate a user story. Okay, For example, user store and the acceptance criteria. Okay, it's an example. For example, user store one, NF1, and you create this store. It's not about this one. Okay, it's only an example of test that you can use. Okay, the task today. Okay, this activity is you need to submit. The group needs to submit until October 15th. Okay, but today, what I want to that you at the end of the session today, you finalize or must to be close, very close to finalize the section 2. Okay, again, you need to describe the function requirement, non-function requirements, and the user store. The source to create each is the Reto one. Okay, to identify the requirements, it's very important to read or to read together the material that represents the first class about the IoT introduction. In the IoT introduction, you have information about what is the edge layer, what is the cloud layer, and what is the device layer. Okay. See here what is the system described. I try to get again the point. My point is not work in a second. Okay, now it's working. Okay. What is the system? This the Reto system. What is you need to develop until the end of this block? A system that you use the IoT architecture, okay, and you have 3 layers: the device layer, the edge layer, and the cloud layer. Okay. What this system does? Who is the client of the system? Any sector that is responsible to make to keep the campus clean. Okay, is the guy that is responsible to send people to get the trash can and refill the trash can. Okay, to take off the trash and keep empty the trash can. Okay, so and to what this system does is you have you use a ultrasonic distance measure sensor and you use a Raspberry board card. Okay, what it means? You have the trash can. Okay, in the top of the trash can you install this sensor here. Okay, this ultrasonic sensor. Okay, what this ultrasonic sensor does? And here you have trash. Okay, it measures the top until the first. Oh my gosh, what happened? Okay, it measures the distance between the top and the first obstacle that you have in the bottom. Okay, and for example, you have here, I don't know, think that this trash can has 2 meters. It means okay, you have 1.3 meters is the distance between the sensor and the first obstacle or the first trash. Did you understand it? Yes or no? Come on, guys.
Yes, teacher.
Okay. So this trash here is this entity here. Things you will have, for example, I never been for in the Mexico City campus, okay? But things that you have to build in the Mexico City campus. In one build, you have a group of smart trash can. In another build, you have another group. For each build, you can install an edge IoT device to control this device here. And another one, you have to control the other build's device. And this device sends data to the cloud, okay? What is important here? The first point that is important, that I don't know what's happened with the. Did you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. For example, the measure, what this guy measure is something like 1.3, 2.3, 1.5, okay? Is what is this information that this guy sent to the cloud, okay? However, what you said about the cloud, the final application, I don't know what happens if the Zoom today does not work well. The final application is you have a sensor, smart sensor in the trash that send data to the cloud. In the cloud, what you do? Based on the level of the trash, you generate alert or you generate test, for example. If the trash, the trash can is the load is below 20% of the capacity, you print in the dashboard green. If it's between the 20 to 75, is amarillo, is yellow. And above 75% is it's not pink, is rojo, okay? And the idea is, if it's green, you don't need to do nothing. You don't need to send people to clean the trash can. If it's between the 20 to 75, it's yellow. You need to plan a guy to go to the place to clean the trash. And it's above 75%, you need to send immediately the guy to clean the trash, okay? And you generate this dashboard, and this dashboard is in the cloud. But think, what the cloud needs? The cloud needs only three information: green, yellow, and rojo, okay? If you need to digitalize this information, you need how many bits to describe these three levels? If you need to design one variable here to save this information here, these three information, how many bits do you need? One bit, two bits, three bits. How many bits do you need to codify this information? Come on, guys. How many bits do I need to codify the dashboard, the information about the level of trash can? How many bits? Two bits, am I correct? Why two bits? Okay, two bits, okay? Why two bits? Oh my gosh. 0, 0 is verde. 0, 1 is yellow. 1, 0 is rojo. And you have one bit more to any other information, like, for example, no measure, okay? But you need only 2 bits. How many bits do you need to save, for example, a double measure, a float number? How many bits do you need? I don't know, okay? But it's much more than 1 byte. You need more than 1 byte to represent a float number. What it means? It means that you have, in this layer here, you receive a big information. It's a float information or a double information, okay? Oh, sorry. In this level here, you receive, in this level here, you receive a float information, okay? However, in the cloud, you don't need a float, you need only 2 bits to save the information dashboard. Remember, here in the edge, you have a high-speed connection. It's local. But when you go to the cloud, the bandwidth that you have is much more lower, okay? So it's a good idea to use in the edge, you filter the information. My gosh, today the Zoom is not working. I will try to share again and see if it's working now. Okay, a good idea that you can do is, okay, again, you have the device level, the edge layer, and the cloud layer. Again, the device generates much more information than you need in the cloud. What you do is, if you read the material that I shared with you in the first class, you see that one test that Edge does is the filter. Edge provides filter. And another thing that Edge provides is anomalous detection. Okay? So, what you can do now is, in the Edge, you can, oh my gosh, in the Edge, you can filter the information that the trash sends and transform this information, okay? For example, if the trash send, oh, the level is, the distance is I don't know, 1.5. And the edge layer will know, okay, the can has 2 meters, okay? It's an example, okay? Okay, you calculate the level and send the level to the cloud, okay? You send the level, receive the measure here, but you send to the cloud the level, okay? The code, yellow, green, or for example, yellow, green, or rojo. Another thing that the edge can do is to try to detect anomalies. For example, things that this sensor here didn't send any data for the edge device for, I don't know, 2 minutes, okay? You can generate an actual to the cloud, is inform, okay, the node 1 does not work. It's an alert, and the user can, the administrator can send a guy to fix the sensor. Okay. What I try to explain is, you organize your requirements in 3 different levels. The requirements about the device, the requirements about the edge, and the requirements about the cloud. Did you understand what I explained today? Yes, that what I explained now? Yes or no? Yes, okay. And okay, again, to realize this test, you need to fill, where's the formula? This formula here, okay? Not the section 1. The section 1 you do it in your home, work in the second 2, okay? You need to read the Retro Project IoT and the material that I provide in the user store, the material that I use today, and the material about the introduction of IoT that we did, that I taught, I believe, in 2 weeks ago, 1 week ago. Okay. How we work? I will give a break now. Okay, a 10 minutes break. After the break, I will open the breakout rooms. Okay, and you enter in the breakout rooms, and you work in the group, okay? Because the deliverable, you need to submit, one guy only will submit, okay? Or the leader of the group, okay? So for now, I will give a break and we return in 10 minutes. in the 10 minutes when I return, I will start the session, open the breakout room, and you go to the breakout room to work. Okay? Any questions?